What is Blck VC?
Blck VC is a nonprofit organization that sits at the intersection between venture capital and nonprofit. We work to get more investors who are Black into the venture ecosystem.
And you are relatively new to this role, I understand?
Yes, 90 days about.
90 days?
Yeah.
What was your 100-day plan?
Oh my gosh, what was my 100-day plan? It was to just meet as many people within the Black venture community as possible. I'm kind of an outsider insider. I was an operator, I'm a founder, I've been a limited partner, I've been on boards. I have not worked at a venture fund as an investor, and that's really the core of our community, and I needed to get to know as many of them as possible. Other than that, it's really taking the work that our founders have created and really systematizing it. Again, as an operator, the first thing I want to do is come in and Marie Kondo everything, and that's what we've been doing.
You've been Marie Kondoing everything.
Oh yeah, I love a mess.
So you can make it clean.
Yes, that's right.
And in your world, what does making it clean look like? Does that mean I imagine that means getting more money in the hands of Black founders?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really taking the community that's already been built, and I call it earthquake proofing, putting systems and real operations in place so that as Blck VC, as the community grows and moves outside of just Black people who are within the venture community, that there's a real system that can be tapped into.
There's a statistic about the number of Black women who have raised more than $1 million, and I'm not going to quote the number because I'm hoping that it's changing by the minute. I'm hoping that it's changing as we're speaking right now.
Yeah.
I'm an optimist, maybe.
Yeah.
Are you optimistic?
Always. Yeah, I think I'm verbally pessimistic, but in my mind I'm staying positive.
But it is a number that's rather low. I think under 200 would probably be a safe number to cite. How is Blck VC changing that, or how are you changing that?
Yeah, so Black women have received less than 0.1% of venture funding over the last 2 years. However, the amount of funding we've gotten has expanded dramatically. And now that we have this market change, I'll call it evolution or next chapter, there's a lot of alarmists out there. So whereas Black women were already getting no's, you'd have one Black founder pitching 100 VCs before she would even hear any sort of signaling around a next call, whereas our white male counterparts would talk to 5 people. I think of our country's history and of capitalism and how capitalism and racism, as Ibram Kendi says, are twins. And so you can't have one without the other. You have to exist in both systems at the same time. And so we are both working to exist in a system and benefit from that system. The same system also creates harm, perpetuates harm when we enter it. So as a people who have been formerly enslaved, it is thinking about, we're always thinking of new ways to be successful, thinking of new ways to give back to our community. And I think what's really unique about the Black community in the US is that a lot of what's created is around benefiting the community.
I've heard some fear from some folks I've talked to here and throughout the last few weeks that in this environment, diversity goals will be the first to go, diversity investments. No matter what you call it, people are afraid that'll be yet another reason to say no. Mm-hmm. What's your take on that fear?
I think what's been happening over the last couple of years is that there was an awakening 2 years ago, quite literally at someone's death. But things like that were happening forever, much worse actually. And so a lot of the funding that diverse managers or diverse anything we're getting was as a performance, we can't really do anything, but we can throw money at this. And so now that that has dried up a little bit, we've already shifted because we're already seeing the success of what's happening when Black fund managers are outperforming their peers 10 to 1. And so it's less of a give me your guilt money, it's more of a you're missing out when you don't invest in Black founders, when you don't invest in Black women. So, you know, you can kind of stay where you are. We're going to be over here doing our thing and expanding. So we'll see you when we see you.
So it's basically the intention matters. And for folks who are looking for good business fundamentals, there's opportunity to be had.
Right. Because, you know, honestly, a lot of our allies, while they're doing work to dismantle their own systemic racism, they're more thinking about this is an amazing opportunity. And it doesn't matter to me which one of those we are, to an extent, of course. I'm not going to be out here saying Republicans buy Jordans too. That's not my testimony. But I do think there is an opening of let's talk about the opportunity here, because the opportunity that is being invested in are creating more healthcare resources for Black women. There's more research happening for mental health. So all the things that they're investing in are having a positive impact on everyone. And that's really what we're looking for.
What's your advice to founders who hear this fear, who hear of term sheets getting pulled, who see the charts going in the wrong direction?
Right. I mean, founders are so resilient. They're probably hearing that and just thinking, okay, how am I going to pivot my story? You know, I was at a really fast growing startup in 2008 and 2009, and we were annihilating our targets. And so all we did was we said, it's less about growth, it's more about revenue. So we need to sell. And so I think the markets are becoming, I want to say, more realistic again to like looking at actual numbers as opposed to what multiples are looking like or opposed to trends. And I think that is, to me, it's really encouraging because I feel like now is an amazing time to invest.